Welcome, sophisticated viewers. We appreciate your excellent taste in movies and thank you for joining us today. Today we dive into the world of Poetic Justice, a film that still resonates with us 3 decades after its 1993 release. Here we are still talking about it, but why? The film, starring the iconic Janet Jackson and the multi-talented Tupac Shakur, is a journey of love, drama, and self-discovery. It struck a chord with audiences, grossing over $27 million domestically and leaving an indelible mark on pop and urban culture. Its impact was not just limited to the box office numbers, but also reflected in the themes it explored, the bonds it portrayed, and the poetry it incorporated from the legendary Maya Angelou. It came out at a time Janet was really taking off as a pop star away from her family and as an adult in the eye of the public. But 3 decades later, is Poetic Justice overrated? I saw this film when it came out in 1993. I can still quote many of the lines from the film and even some of the poetry. You wanna smell my punani? What? If I'm a bitch, your mama's a bitch. Bitch. Alone. Nobody but nobody can make it alone. I could go on, but I won't. Do you have any favorite quotes or poetry from it? Let me know in the comments. I was so inspired I bought my first book of poetry after seeing this movie. It was indeed Maya Angelou, and I even started writing my own poetry because of it. So let's see if it holds up to all this praise 30 years later. I'll also be covering some facts from the movie you probably don't know. Now let's get into it, but first crush that like button for me. Crush it, I say. Now let's delve into the reasons why Poetic Justice could be overrated, or could it actually be a 90s classic? First up, we have the powerful lead performances by Janet Jackson and Tupac Shakur. Their raw and authentic portrayals of Justice and Lucky were pivotal in making the film such a success. Janet, known for her career in music, showed us her acting chops, while Tupac, already a well-established rapper, demonstrated his versatility. Secondly, Regina King's performance. After capturing the hearts of Black America in her role as Brenda Jenkins on the sitcom 227, as a teenager, Regina King did what many other child actors have failed to do, and successfully transitioned into adulthood, beginning with her movie debut in the 1991 John Singleton film Boys in the Hood. However, 2 years later, Singleton cast King as Isha in Poetic Justice, a role that would truly showcase her talents and ability to captivate an audience. The best friend of Justice and a borderline alcoholic, Isha's character is one that struck a chord with viewers in a big way and stole the show from both Tupac and Janet Jackson at times. From her scathing takedown of Chicago to her sisterhood with Justice, King's portrayal of Isha was one that solidified her as a viable supporting actress and stands as one of the breakout roles of her career. And I myself would think of this film every time I saw a movie with King in it. Do you too? Next, the battle of the sexes. That's right. One constant theme throughout Poetic Justice was its commentary on the state of relations between men and women, with both sides weighing in on the issue. Moments like the infamous salon scene where Lucky first encounters Justice and her man-eating boss Jesse, and his intense arguments with Justice during their trek to Oakland are just a few of a handful of instances in Poetic Justice that tackle men and women's gripes with one another and the disconnect that occurs at times within the Black community as a result. Another factor that sets Poetic Justice apart is its inclusion of real poetry by Maya Angelou. This added a layer of depth and authenticity to the film, giving audiences a taste of Angelou's powerful and poignant writing. And it's special in that Maya herself made a cameo during the family reunion scene. Did you ever spot her? Poetic Justice lives up to its name as Jackson's character recites poems throughout, most notably Alone and Phenomenal Woman. Serving as the backdrop to some of the film's most moving moments, Alone and Phenomenal Woman give Poetic Justice added character and substance and helped introduce a generation like myself to the greatness of Angelou. Now we must mention the queen of pop Janet Jackson's show of strength and vulnerability. Long before feminism became a topic of discussion in the mainstream, Poetic Justice helped introduce a nation of Black women to the movement through Jackson's character Justice, who demanded respect from men like Lucky, and helped uplift women like her friend Isha, and inspired them to love themselves. In addition to her strength and lack of tolerance for being objectified, or called out of her name, Justice also displays a vulnerability that belies her hardened exterior, particular in her comfort of Lucky and their unlikely romance. Moving on. The film also features a cameo by Q-Tip, adding a touch of star power and musicality that perfectly complemented the film's urban setting and themes, like the hair show, carnival, and family reunion. Speaking of the family reunion, let us not forget it taught us how to properly crash a cookout. I know that's right. One of the most endearing scenes from Poetic Justice occurs when Lucky, Justice, Isha, and Chicago stumble upon a cookout for a family reunion, which they join under the guise of being relatives of the family themselves. From Lucky ingratiating himself to Cousin Pete, to Isha and Chicago's exchange with the matriarchs of the family reunion is remembered as one of the key moments from the film and resonated with a nation of young black party crashers, while proving that, at the end of it all, we're all one big family. Furthermore, the film tackles themes of gender relations, a topic that remains relevant today. By addressing these issues, Poetic Justice provided a platform for discussions about gender dynamics, making it a trailblazer in its time. And how about the solidarity between Lucky and Chicago's characters? This friendship added an element of camaraderie and brotherhood to the film, making it all the more relatable and engaging. Lastly, the film showcases Tupac Shakur's range as an actor. Known primarily for his music, Tupac proved that he was just getting started as a leading man in Hollywood. Each of these points adds a layer to the film, making it a complex and engaging piece of cinema. Now, let's shift gears and explore some lesser-known facts about Poetic Justice. You might be surprised to know that the iconic role of Lucky, played by Tupac Shakur, was originally offered to Ice Cube. Yes, you heard it right. Ice Cube was the first choice, but he turned down the offer, paving the way for Tupac to step in and deliver a memorable performance. Here's another jaw-dropper. Lloyd Avery II, who played small roles in both Boys and the Hood and Poetic Justice, met a tragic end. He was arrested for a double homicide in 2001, and while serving his sentence, he was murdered in prison during a satanic ritual. A chilling end to a promising career. The filming of Poetic Justice was also impacted by the external socio-political environment. Director John Singleton has spoken about how the Rodney King verdicts and subsequent riots will forever be tied to the making of this film. The acquittal of the officers involved in King's brutal beating sent shockwaves throughout the country, affecting the cast and crew on set. On a more heartwarming note, the legendary Maya Angelou, whose poetry is featured in the film, made Tupac Shakur cry. Maya recalled, "He was into a big row with another young man, so I said to him, 'May I speak to you?' And he was cursing, 'Woo,'" she recalled years later during an interview. "And I said, 'When was the last time anyone told you how important you are?'" Did you know people stood on auction blocks and were bought and sold so that you could stay alive today? Shakur was so moved by Angelou's words that he started weeping in her arms. It was later that Angelou finally realized just what she'd done. "I went back to my trailer and Janet Jackson came running in and said, 'Dr. Angelou, I don't believe you actually spoke to Tupac Shakur.' And I said, 'Darling, I don't know him from Six Pack.' I had never heard of him. Now that's epic AF. And who can forget Janet Jackson's iconic braids in the film? This distinctive hairstyle was a team effort, inspired by Harlem trends and introduced to the West Coast through this movie. Lastly, did you know that Jada Pinkett Smith auditioned for Janet Jackson's role? The part was written specifically for Janet, but it's fascinating to imagine what could have been if Jada had landed the role. These incredible facts further prove that Poetic Justice is an intricate piece of cinema, full of interesting behind-the-scenes stories. So is Poetic Justice overrated? We believe not. Quite the contrary, we argue that Poetic Justice is a hidden treasure, an underrated gem from the 90s that deserves much more recognition. This film is not just a simple love story, but a narrative enriched with themes of self-discovery, drama, and love, all wrapped up in an engaging storyline. The powerful performances by the lead actors Janet Jackson and Tupac Shakur are nothing short of remarkable. Janet Jackson's portrayal of Justice, a strong, independent woman dealing with the loss of her boyfriend, and the memorable scene when she listens to old records by herself and produces a single tear while lamenting for the past, is both moving and inspiring. Tupac Shakur, on the other hand, showcased his impressive acting range, proving that he was not only a talented musician, but also a gifted actor we were only on the verge of discovering. But the impact of Poetic Justice extends beyond the silver screen. Did you know Janet made Tupac get an AIDS test before they filmed any love scenes? Well, needless to say, there are no gratuitous love scenes. The film has proven its worth by standing the test of time, remaining relevant and impactful 30 years after its release. So let's appreciate Poetic Justice for what it truly is, an underrated gem from the 90s. And remember, always be kind to one another and to yourself and write a lit of poetry today.